Namaste and welcome to Itihasdhir with me, Aditi Joshi. I have with me a very special guest today. He is an Indian diplomat who is not only a very renowned author, but he is also a translator and an editor. Please welcome Mr. Abhay K. Sir has been part of the Indian Foreign Service since 2003, and currently he is serving as the Deputy Director General of the Indian Council for Cultural Relations, and he has also received the SARC Literary Award. And his current lyrical translation of the Hanuman Chalisa, which is published by Bloomsbury, is actually doing wonders in the literary market. Welcome to Itihasdhir, sir.
Thank you so much, Miss Aditi. I am very pleased to be with you this
And
afternoon.
likewise, sir. So, sir, I want to start. You were born in Bihar, and I want to majorly talk about your book Nalanda and how it changed the world.
Right.
Did the fact that you were born in Bihar have something to do with you revisiting Nalanda and writing about it?
Of course, very much. Actually, I am from Nalanda.
Yes.
Not only born in Bihar, but I am born in the Nalanda district of Bihar.
Okay.
So Nalanda has such a rich history, and being from there, I was not aware of Nalanda's great history. Nobody told me, and I kept looking here and there, and I could not find a comprehensive, cohesive history of Nalanda, and therefore I thought that I must write one for
To make sure no one else
to make sure no one else has to go to many places to look for the entire history of Nalanda.
So was there like a specific reading or an epiphany that actually made you write about it? Like you did look, for it, you did want to know more about it, but was there anything like a eureka moment for you wherein you were like, okay, like now this has to be covered?
Well, yes. For example, I've done many books before I came to Nalanda. I mean, came to write Nalanda. So I had written actually two poems on Nalanda. One was the day of massacre at Nalanda, and then the rise of Nalanda, because Nalanda has risen from its burned books. So so it so happened that when I wrote the poem, people read the poem, and there were questions about various aspects of the poem and whether they are true or not. So poem became a window to leap into a larger world of Nalanda, actually. So for example, did Fayan, like people say that when Fayan visited Nalanda, it wasn't there. There was no university. And did Bakhtiyar Khalji really destroy Nalanda? It's disputed. So all these questions were there, which were waiting to be explored. So I decided. I think I had edited earlier a book called the Book of Bihari Literature, and there was a presentation in Patna on the book, and one gentleman in the audience said that no, that's not true. So that was, I think, an invitation to dig deeper into Nalanda's history. How did it become such a great university? Was the idea of university itself born in Nalanda? So as I kept going deeper into Nalanda history, I was startled by the facts which came up. When I started writing the book, I was not sure whether Nalanda was a university or it was just a Buddhist Mahavihar. And later I realized that actually the idea of university begins at Nalanda. It's born there.
So I want to ask about this. When we talk about Nalanda as a university, is it like a university in our modern understanding of what a university is like? What all was incorporated there?
You see, Nalanda was actually even much more deeper and comprehensive university than our modern universities. You know.
Okay.
So actually, Nalanda, I mean, our modern universities, I would say, you know, they are not really modern. They are not universities even. You know.
Hmm.
So see, the idea of a university is based on this fundamental idea of universal. You know. And Nalanda was the first Mahavihara, you can say, because it was a Buddhist Mahavihara, right? So it was the first Buddhist Mahavihara where you have a complete focus on universal, not just the subjects which are taught there. It was a Mahayana Buddhist institution, but everything was taught at Nalanda, whatever was known to mankind that time, including grammar, chemistry, alchemy, medicine.
So, were there options for the students to take up the subjects, or everyone studied everything?
Mathematics. So, Nalanda had interdisciplinary learning. You know, that's the idea of a university.
Yes.
You know, universities, it's not that you just study one subject at a university as we do today. So, Nalanda, the students or the monks, you can say, who entered the university through, you know, a very difficult process of examination, in the sense that they were examined at the entrance door. You know, that's why we call these days, you know, the exams which are taken for competitions, entrance exams, because at Nalanda the exam had happened at the entrance itself. So Dwarapala Pandit, you know, who was sitting at the gate, engaged people in debate and discussion, and the success rate was only 20 to 30%. So out of 100, only 20 to 30 would get into the institution. But Nalanda had interdisciplinary learning. So everybody who entered Nalanda was looking for enhancing one's complete knowledge of the universal knowledge, what we call. So idea was not to get a job, you know. Idea was to become knowledgeable, to be learned, and to seek enlightenment, you know. So therefore, today when we have national new education, you know, policy is now bringing back Nalanda's, you know, Nalanda's interdisciplinary learning, or Nalanda's method of learning. So Nalanda was, I think, much more than a university. What we have, you know, what we call universities today. Second thing, that Nalanda had a universal student, I mean, the origin of the students and the origin of teachers who taught there, or the professors who taught there, the pandits, they were from all across the known world. They were also universal. So they were not limited to
just the Bharatvarsh.
Not forget about Bharatvarsh, you know.
The same continent.
Yeah, the Asia even, you know. So you have students from coming from all across the world, whatever known world was that time, and you have you know, there's no discrimination that, you know, you can only this person can enter Nalanda, that person can enter Nalanda. There was no visa that time. So that makes Nalanda even more liberal than Harvard today, you know, or any other university in the West, because there was no visa. You know, you are seeking knowledge and you are accepted there. For example, Xuanzang, you know, the great Chinese traveler of the 7th century, he started his journey in the Chinese capital, Shangan, you know, and it took him 14 years to complete his journey to Nalanda and back. And when he left China, the Chinese citizens were prohibited to leave the Tang Dynasty empire, the boundaries of the Tang Dynasty. So there was internal turbulence, and Xuanzang actually, you know, defies all the odds to reach Nalanda. And why does he want to come to Nalanda? Because Nalanda has one of the greatest libraries on the planet that time, the Great Sutra Library, and where he wants to copy a text called Yoga Bhumichara Sutra. So he comes all the way from Shangan, you know, from the Chinese capital that time in 7th century to Nalanda. He travels on foot, on horseback, on through rough terrains. He comes via the northern route, which is which involves through Central Asia and down here. He crosses the mountains in the Hindu Kush and then enters India. So that's something amazing in that time. Do we have that kind of universities today where you have universal faculty or universal students?
No,
Here back home, I don't think so. So Nalanda was the first global institution. It was a university in the true sense. What actually university were meant to be. What we call modern universities are actually,
they're
in
turning out very one-dimensional people. This was a more
exactly not only
this
one-dimensional
built your
people,
character.
yeah, but also the students. They are from one, they are from certain parts of certain region. They're not universal.
Yes.
Even faculty, they are all
local
faculty. So can we call them a university? But we do call them a university. So we must think clearly and change the lens. And not only that, at Nalanda you have the evolution of the architectural plan of a university and the administration of a university, how a university is governed. So Nalanda has this quadrangular plan. It's called you have a courtyard, so which is in the center, and around the courtyard you have the cells or the residences of the monks or the students.
Okay.
So this plan gets standardized at Nalanda. It becomes a standard feature of a university. You have students dedicated to particular monasteries or viharas. You have teachers dedicated to that vihara, and they all live together. So you have Nalanda is multi-storied institution, and you have an architectural plan where all the viharas or colleges are in one row, and all the chaityas or the temples are in the other row. There's a complete segregation. You have the path in the middle. So you must visit Nalanda to see it with your own eyes. That what a wonderfully planned, university it was. And the same, if you see today, the same courtyard plan is followed by the universities, the most ancient universities in the West, for example, Oxford and Cambridge. So you have quads and courts of Cambridge and Oxford, which are actually, originate at Nalanda.
So, sir, talking about the Library of Nalanda, because that is another very interesting topic. When we say that it was one of the biggest libraries, in the world, the books, majorly they were manuscripts which were there. So, is there any mention of how the manuscripts were collected, or like a screening process of the manuscripts also which were kept, or were there also copies of certain manuscripts? Like, is it again, because I don't expect it to be a library as we understand a library to be in the current times.
Well, so as per the historical records, Nalanda had 3 buildings. The library was known as Dharmaganj, and it had 3 buildings: Ratna Ranjaka, Ratna Dadi, and Ratna Sagar. And one of these were 9-storied tall. I mean, and the manuscripts, were they were completely catalogued and kept in these buildings. And you have the evidence of a great library there, because it's historically written that when Xuanzang, the Chinese traveler, when he goes back to China, he copies 657 manuscripts from Nalanda library. So you have a very well established system of copying of manuscripts, because these were manuscripts on the palm leaves. So and you have these villages around Nalanda where you would have these experts who would copy these for you, because obviously you cannot sit there and copy all the time. So there's a very well devised system where you will have these experts in copying, illustrating. These were not just texts, but they were illustrations.
Yes.
There were, the most copied text at Nalanda was Pragya Paramita Sutra.
Okay.
And a particular variety of Pragya Paramita Sutra, which is known as Astasahasrika Pragya Paramita Sutra, means 8,000 verses of Pragya Paramita Sutra.
So there were people who were trained to copy these manuscripts were travelers allowed in general, like as visitors? Were they allowed in the premises?
They were not only allowed, they were welcomed, So if you read the book, let me read a passage from Nalanda, which is, which tells how Xuanzang was received at Nalanda. See, it opened
itself. Right at that.
So Xuanzang is a foreigner, and see how he is received. On the 10th day, he went to the Nalanda temple. The congregation there had selected 4 of their number of distinguished position to go and meet him. So there was an advance team to meet him. Journeying in their company about 7 yojnas, he reached the farmhouse belonging to the temple. So this advanced team, which goes to receive Xuanzang, they walk together for 7 yojnas. So it would be, I think, probably around 10 kilometers. He reached the farmhouse belonging to the temple. So you not only have the temple, but you also have the farmhouse
for receiving guests.
For receiving guests. It was in the village where this house stands that the Honorable Modgalyayana was born. Modgalyayana is the second chief male disciple of Buddha. The first one is Sariputra. Both are from Nalanda. And halting here for short refreshment, then with 200 priests and some thousands lay patrons who surrounded him as he went, recounting his praises and carrying standards, umbrellas, flowers, and perfumes. He entered Nalanda. So he's not entering like somebody, he's entering with being welcomed with people who are carrying standards and umbrellas and flowers and perfumes.
Something like, I think the grooms.
It's almost like a wedding procession.
Yes. That's how they were.
Exactly. And having arrived there, he was joined by the whole body of the community, Nalanda community. And then placing a special seat by the side of the Sthavira, presiding priest, they requested the master to be seated. The master here is Xuanzang. This is being written by Xuanzang's biographer, Hui Li. The others then also sat down. After this, the Karmadan was directed to sound the ghanta or bell. Karmadan is who is the chief executive officer there, responsible for the running
making sure everything runs
monastery. Yes, and proclaim. Whilst the master of law, which is Xuanzang, dwells in the convent or monastery, all the commodities used by the priests and all the appliances of religion are for his convenience, in common with the rest. So he is not being treated well, but treated as equal. And then servants were instructed to look after every comfort of Xuanzang, making him feel at home in Nalanda. And after he's granted an audience with the chief of Nalanda Mahavihara. His name is Silabhadra, the head of the university. And during which he is asked for his reason to travel to India to learn Yogachara, he says, and requests Silabhadra to accept him as his disciple. And then not only that, he is whereupon, following the rest, he entered to salute this eminent person, like Xuanzang salutes Silabhadra. Having seen him, then Klabhadra, the chief almoner, is called Klabhadra, presented him with all things necessary without stint, paying his respects according to the proper ceremony, approaching him on his knees and kissing his feet, and bowing his head to the ground. The usual greetings and compliments being finished, Silabhadra ordered seats to be brought and spread out, and desired the master of law and the rest to be seated. When seated, he asked the master of law from what part he came. In reply, he said, I have come from the country of China, desiring to learn from your instruction the principle of the Yoga Shastra. So then, after the conversation, the master took his leave. He was lodged on the fourth story of the house of fourth story. So you can see Nalanda how there are, he's on the fourth floor. And he lodged on the fourth story of the house of Buddha Bhadra in the courtyard of the monastery built by King Baladitya. Baladitya is a Gupta dynasty king. When the 7 days entertainment was over, so he was entertained for 7 days. These days we hear of 7 days of mourning with somebody, high-ranking official dies. Yes. So, but he had the 7 days of entertainment. I don't know what was in that entertainment.
I think maybe cultural.
Yes, but what was there, we do not know. But 7 days entertainment was over. He was again lodged in the main chamber to the north of the house of Dharmapala with an increase in the provisions. He was provided daily with borneol incense, like there was a particular agarbatti of particular kind, and one sheng of mahasali rice, and a particular kind of rice which was very long. A grain of this rice was bigger than a black bean, and when cooked, it had a fragrance and delicious taste that no other kind of rice possessed of this quality. So this kind of non-glutinous rice was produced only in Magadh and was not found elsewhere, and it was supplied only to kings and learned monks of virtue. It was called rice supplied to great persons, mahashali. He was also given a monthly supply of 3 shengs of oil, and as regards butter and milk, he could take as much as he needed every day. Master Swensang had a servant and a Brahmin to serve him and was exempted from monastic duties. And when he went out, he had an elephant to carry. Among the 10,000 natives and foreign monks of Nalanda monastery, so he's saying what native and foreign monks both there. Yes. Only 10 persons, including Swensang, got such provisions.
That's what I wanted to come at. Like Swensang is given, this kind of treatment or the respect. So is it also because he carried the stature, or did he inform them in advance? Because again, it wouldn't be meted out to almost everyone who would visit.
Right.
So what were the provisions that made a visitor eligible for this kind of honor?
So, see, there was something special about Swensang because Shila Bhadra, who was the head of the Nalanda Mahavihara that time, he already had intimations of that a traveler from China is coming, and he was that time already in his later he was quite old, and he had also seen him in his dreams, that someone is coming from China, and someone who will rescue Shila Bhadra of his he had problems in his legs. He had arthritis, so he was unable to walk much, and he was in great pain, and he had this premonition that this person is coming, and that's why when Swensang comes, he is given a new name, Moksha Deva. Someone who is bringing
elevating,
moksha, elevating or bringing moksha to Shila Bhadra, and therefore I think Swensang is given a very high, and he was a very learned person. So you can make it in one minute whether the person is learned or not, right? So he was not a simple person. He was a learned monk, and he was a great scholar.
And I think if him coming with his biographer also added more weight.
No, biographer wasn't traveling with him. He was traveling alone.
Okay.
And he was not traveling with the biographer. Biographer, he tells this story much later. But if you see the foreign scholars at Nalanda, here it says that it gives these details that why Xuanzang was such an important person for Shilabhadra.
And so when you had started about Nalanda, it had started from a poem which you had written.
Yes.
So how did you decide on the framework of the book? Like how, like you knew that you had to write about this, but how did you decide on the framework of the book? And does it contain the expansions from your earlier poetry?
So see, I mean, what I did was to dig deeper into by questioning, asking some basic and fundamental questions like why did Nalanda become such a famous monastery? There were thousands of monasteries, Buddhist monasteries during that period, spread all across South Asia, Asia, but it was Nalanda which became such a great center of learning. What was the reason? So this was the basic question I began with, and I started exploring the reasons, and one of the reasons which I found out was that Nalanda was located in close proximity to Rajgriha, or modern Rajgir, which was the capital of the Magad kingdom of Magad, or Mahajanpada of Magad. And it was Rajgriha, which was of a great city of 6th century BC, and Nalanda was a suburb of Rajgriha. And anybody who was seeking name, fame, wealth, enlightenment, they all flocked to Rajgriha at that time. So it was the magnetic appeal of Rajgriha to pull all kind of people. I think that played a key role in making Nalanda, which is in just 10-12 kilometers away from there, a great seat for learning. So and it received continuous royal patronage since that time, since Buddha's time. Then I found out that actually what is the connection of Rajgriha and Nalanda. So you have the two. I mean, Buddha is well known, but the persons who make Buddhism what we know as Buddhism today are actually two people from Nalanda, and they are the first and second chief disciples of Buddha, and they are Sariputra and Moggallana. And even being born in Nalanda, I had no idea about them. They are completely forgotten in Nalanda until you read Buddhist history. So it's actually become very interesting to find more about what was the details of their lives. Who were they? Where were they born? How did they come to Rajgriha? How did they become disciple of Buddha? And what did they do? So all this became the second chapter of the book. Then the rise of the Nalanda University. What was its journey like? When did it become a university? So I explored that facet of Then who were the great masters of Nalanda, like great teachers who taught there and made Nalanda what Nalanda became. So I discovered the lives of these 33 great masters of Nalanda who taught there. They are just a minuscule of the great people at Nalanda, but they are spread across centuries, actually, from 1st century AD up to 13th century AD. And then the foreign scholars like Xuanzang and Itzing and others, there are many scholars who, not only them, but there are like more than thousands of foreign scholars who visited Nalanda. But we only know little bit of the sketches of their lives, but we get an immense sense that how many would have been in its 1,000 years history. And then always the question of the decline and destruction of Nalanda. What happened?
Because there's a very, I think this anecdote is spread around a lot that, these two drunk Brahmins who set it on
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah.
It just negates the whole thing that it was purposely set on fire.
So that's not an anecdote, that's like an absurdity. Not only absurdity, but completely illogical,
Because it was
yeah.
this absurdity, if I may call it that only, it negates the magnanimity of the university premises also, because like two drunk people
Exactly
cannot set an entire,
yeah, so it defeats the common sense,
Yes.
And it also defeats the logic that there is always a debate and discussion, this tradition of debate and discussion at Nalanda, so anybody who disputed anything about Nalanda, they always entered into debate and discussion. And Nalanda was too large, too gargantum actually to be destroyed in one go or two go. So all those things are there. I mean, I haven't even actually considered this nonsensical argument. So, but also there is a case of Bakhtiyar Khalji destroying it. So Bakhtiyar Khalji actually, there is a clear written evidence of him going to Odantapuri, the monastery of Odantapuri, which is nearby, around 15 kilometers from Nalanda, and destroying it, So, but we don't have a historical account of Bakhtiyar Khalji going to Nalanda.
Okay.
So, but then there's a clear evidence of Turks going to Nalanda, which is given by an eyewitness account of a Tibetan monk who was there in 1235. So, so it could be, we can say with certainty that Turks destroyed Nalanda. Bakhtiyar Khalji, we may have to think about
like he's
twice.
Suspect number one, but again,
Yes.
like there's no proof.
There's
like,
no
concrete proof.
There is no. See, there are two kind of evidences. One is the direct evidence, and one is the circumstantial evidence. So circumstantial evidence confirms that Bakhtiyar Khalji went to Nalanda, but Turks, Turks in the sense that Turks, like because Bakhtiyar Khalji was not single. No, he was accompanied by lots of other people. Yeah. Yes, so they are known as Turks. So Turks definitely went to Nalanda and destroyed it.
And so like while writing and researching for the book, how many resources did you have to dig through, and how many of them were like what was the influence of the primary resources as well as the secondary one?
Well, so I did visit many places, including Nalanda Museum and ruins, of course, of Nalanda, Mahavihara, and also museums in Patna and in Delhi. Bihar Museum, in fact, is one of the best museums in the country today. So, but also through the sources like the biography of Xuanzang and the books written by Xuanzang himself. He also wrote a book. You have the books by Itzing. Then, so these are like primary. They are the accounts of the travel accounts of these people. There are also accounts written by later on by various writers, scholars about Nalanda. H.D. Sankalia has written a book called The University of Nalanda. And then you have a number of other writers writing about Nalanda. So all those, and they also have references. So all these things, visiting various libraries, getting books. So all these materials became, the source for putting this book together. And there are references, whatever I have written, there's a reference to that.
Yes. So like most of your poetry is so evocative, it has this lyrical sense of like you just flow with it, and you've also translated so many works. So like let's say when you've translated Kalidasa's works, like Meghdut, or so did that affect how you treated Nalanda when it came to writing Nalanda?
To writing Nalanda.
Yes.
Of course, because see here, actually the book begins with the poem.
Yes, it does, and it's actually very beautiful.
And not only that, there's also a poem about Swensang, about whom I wrote the poem I wrote a long time ago. I think this book was in the making since a long time, but it all came together. Yes. So it's the life of Swensang, and thanks to Swensang actually that we we get to know so much about Nalanda. If his writings would have lost, we would have probably lost the history of Nalanda.
And so, how do you view, since you've also translated so many works, how do you view the Indian sensibility when it comes to literature?
Well, so Indian literature is very old. So we have a history of more than 3,000 years of literature actually. In fact, the world's first book comes from India. The Vedas, the Rig Veda. But you will be also surprised to know that world's first printed book actually comes from Nalanda, and that book is known as the Diamond Sutra. And Diamond Sutra is nothing but a part of the Buddhist Pragya Paramita Sutra. It's called Pragya Paramita Sutra Vichedika. So Vajra Vichedika. So diamond. It's Diamond Sutra. And it's a book which was printed for the first time, and this is today historically the first printed book in the world. So Nalanda, so in a way, Indian literature, is very nuanced. You have Kalidas, you have you have the Buddhist nuns writing Therigatha. The works which were written about 2,600 years ago. So all these and those, if you read Therigatha today, they are written by Buddhist nuns, and you will find that how they sound like our contemporaries actually. So so Indian literature is diverse. I have edited, in fact, 3,000 years of Indian poetry. From 28 different Indian languages, translated into English, called the Bloomsbury Anthology of Great Indian Poems and the Bloomsbury Book of the Great Indian Love Poems. So these are, we have a rich repository of heritage of literature.
Yes. And so how did it come about to you doing a lyrical translation of the Hanuman Chalisa?
Well, so Hanuman Chalisa, as you know, it's recited by millions of people every day across the world. Actually, Hanuman is not only an Indian figure, but Hanuman is very popular also in other parts of the world. So, but all of people who read Hanuman Chalisa, probably they do not understand it, and most of them cannot read it in the Devanagari script. Yes. So, idea to translate it is to take it to those people who cannot understand Devanagari. Devanagari cannot read the Devanagari script, and also Hanuman Chalisa is actually multi-layered. So it's not just the you can recite it, like you can have a rote learning, you can remember everything, but you don't understand much. So, like, I've been reciting Hanuman Chalisa since childhood, but I do not understand so many parts of Hanuman Chalisa. So it's multi-layered actually. So you can read it at different levels. So here what I have done is done a translation which is lyrical, and for the first time singable, like it can be sung in English as it can be sung in Awadhi, and it gives the meaning of each word of the Awadhi text. So and there are two kind of meanings. There is one literal meaning and there is another spiritual meaning or deeper meaning. So both are here. So this book for the first time makes it, I think, more accessible to those who already know Hanuman Chalisa, and takes it also to those who do not know.
Or indeed.
Yes. So that's
So you wear so many hats, like you wear the hat of a diplomat, a poet, an author, a translator, and also an editor. So how do you decide which project you're going to take next? How,
So-
like when you're editing, because you've edited an anthology of so many books, like be it like poetry collection. So how do you decide that this is going to be the project that you're going to take up, and how does that process go?
So I do projects which I am passionate about, which is sort of making me feel excited about it, and mostly, projects. I do the projects about which I want to learn more. So there's no better way to learn than translate or to edit or to write. So I had no idea about Nalanda before I started writing the book. So it's sort of a discovery of that particular subject. So,
and so how did you make sure, like throughout reading Nalanda, I don't feel like you are trying to put how you feel about it. It has a very unbiased approach also, and the nuances, like everything is accounted for. So how do you ensure that when a topic which is so close to you, since you also come from that place, how do you ensure that you maintain that very nuanced approach, that the history and your personal attribute of it are kept aside, but it is still so the text flows through you?
Well, because see, I have this I think approach to hear all sides, what others are saying, and give them equal space. And I mean, job of a writer is to present those various perspectives, and let the reader draw the conclusion herself or himself, or themselves. So it's not that I am telling that this is the truth. I mean, you have to find your own truth.
You've presented
yes.
everything.
So job of a writer is to present, to bring out different facets. But writer also has a role here. You will see, because facts are known to everyone. But the way you present the facts
Is
also influences the story or the history. The way it is written, the way it is presented. So here, as a presenter, as a writer, I have completely an objective view, that I'm not sort of passionate that this is true or that is true. I let these things play
you
out.
have not romanticized the whole institute or the whole idea of it. You've like talked about it with a very stoic sense, which actually increases the appeal of it. Specifically, like it also increases the audiences that you reach.
Right.
The number of audiences.
I'm glad you found it interesting in that way.
And so, talking about your other projects, your other poetry collections, can you expand on how you chose their themes? Like, if we talk about, Earth Anthem, or if you talk about Celestial or Monsoon, like, how do you decide that this is going to be, the theme that I'm going to pick up?
Well, so I pick up the themes which are sort of, in my mind that time, or sort of preoccupying my mind, or sort of making me, can help me learn something more. So, see, most of the books I have written, they are basically discoveries, discoveries in the sense that they are born out of curiosities. So, for example, when I was in Madagascar, and I was looking at the star constellations in the night sky, because the sky was very clear and I could see them from the rooftop. And then, I had no idea that, how do you classify star constellations, and what are star constellations? How are they important to us? And I started finding these things out, and then connecting the dots. For example, when I was in college, I used to read a poem by Lord Alfred Tennyson called Locksley Hall. And I did not know about the whole poem, but I just had few lines, and those lines I used to carry in my pocket. And later on, when I got the opportunity to read the whole poem in Madagascar, there was a reference to star constellations in that poem.
Okay.
So, like Orion and Pleiades, which is not just star
I think
constellation.
Orion is the most common one. The
Correct.
one
Yes.
which looks like a bear.
Orion is like a hunter. It has a belt, So there are three stars in the middle, and four on the corner. So it also looks like a cot, like a khatia. So it's a. So that's so see, this is what we know. This is the basic knowledge. But if you read that book, Celestial, you will. So what I have done is that I take you to all the 88 star constellations that are known to mankind, which are visible from Earth, and it's not just constellations. This whole book is a love poem. So they are all threaded together, through a love poem. So someone on Earth is looking for one's beloved in the stars, who is playing a game of hide and seek, from one star constellation to another. So this book becomes a sort of, a galactic, no, not galactic, but a universal map, of cosmic map of star constellations.
No, but this is such a beautiful concept, because now that you mentioned constellation, like I know constellations exist. I know that each star sign has a specific constellation, but exactly how to pick it up is something which one does not know. And the irony is that I do have an app on my phone which will show you where your planets are positioned in the sky. Like you just have to point it to the sky, and it will tell you Jupiter's here, Mars is here. But I feel that is where like we're limited to, or like no one has actually, would you say, broken that barrier and explored it.
Right. So a poet can, and that's how I do my books. For example, Monsoon is a book which takes you along the path of monsoon from Madagascar to Kashmir, and links all the Indian Ocean islands with one poetic thread. So it's all, all in the.
So I had come to know about, your works. I had come to know through Nalanda. So Nalanda has been the book that I had picked up. But the more I started, diving into it, it's like when you saw the sky and you started diving into the constellations. So like through Nalanda, I started diving into your works, and I am just more and more intrigued. So I think obviously I will be we'll be having many more seatings which will be focused on then the poetry books. But also I want to talk to you about your book covers, because one of the most striking features that I have felt, and I do agree with the whole process of judging the book by the cover, because I don't want to discredit the work that goes behind fashioning the book cover. Specifically Nalanda, can you explain us, because there are, we see lotuses and we see this very beautiful blue python, and then the surroundings are also, everything is very beautiful.
Well, so see here, it's the surrounding part is a mandala. It's a Buddhist architectural feature called mandala, and mandalas, are sacred architecture in Buddhism. And inside the mandala, you have this is a python, which is in the shape of actually Devanagari 4. It's like char. So those this 4 stands for the 4 noble truths of Buddhism. And you will see here 8 lotuses, which is the eightfold path of Buddha. And originally, as per the legends, Nalanda is actually a snake. So this denotes Nalanda, who lives in a pond, this pond full of lotus flowers. So that is the legend part, So and here, you have these leaves, but this is the 4 and 8 iconography, and book has 8 chapters, so, which is also a sacred number in Buddhism.
No, this is very beautiful, even for the Hanuman Chalisa.
Right.
The cover
So,
is very beautiful.
Hanuman Chalisa has, for example, 108 pages, and so that's another sacred number, and this is Hanuman, from the from Pahadi painting in Abhay Mudra, and you have this very different image of Hanuman. Usually we see, this is different than that.
This is very different.
And the red, red ochre, you can say, color represents Hanuman, his color, and these are sort of waves, he's trying to, I think he's crossing the ocean. So Jaladhi Landhi Gaye actually. So Jaladhi is the ocean, and you can see the. But this cover is the book has just won the best production award.
Like rightly so.
From the publishers,
Rightly so.
Publishers Association. So this is, and here you have Sri Ram written, which is not very prominent, but it's there as a subtext, because Ram and Hanuman are inseparable. They are together. So this I think tells you the story of devotion of Hanuman, his bravery, his power, his flow. He's not static. He's moving. Because Hanuman is just Chiranjeevi. He's alive. He's alive in all ages.
Yes. So thank you so much for.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for actually agreeing for this and for clarifying all the doubts. I do want to leave you with like one parting question. If there is one book you would want your audiences to read out of all the books you've edited, written, translated, which one would you want them to pick up?
I would love them to pick up Nalanda, because I think Nalanda is is about our collective heritage, and something which we could be very proud of.
Thank you so much, sir, and thank you so much to our viewers for staying with us for this segment. Do like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for another segment. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste. Thank you for having me.